All right, for this project, what you're going to need is to get some black pipe. This can be found at the big box stores. I'm using 3/4 inch. You could probably get away with 1/2 inch. 3/4 inch, of course, is going to be a little bit stronger. So this is the black pipe with the threaded ends. So they come with these little red caps on sometimes, but you got to have the threaded ends. And you need 4 of them at 36 inches. One at 36 inches, these are going to be the uprights for them. It's a little tall maybe for some people, but if you go down to 24 inches, it's probably going to be too low, but you can play with that. So anyway, 4 at 36 inches, and then you're going to need, I'm going with 2 at 48 inches. You can get away with smaller ones. You could go with 24 inches. They're a little bit less expensive, but I want to be able to do rows this way with my hand position like this and in this position. And because I've got a fairly wide frame, I need the 3 foot wasn't going to be wide enough. You might be able to get away with a 3 foot for yours, or if you aren't worried about it, because when you have 2 of these, you can do them this way, and then your hand position is kind of this way as you're doing that. I wanted to be able to have multiple hand positions. So I have 2 at 48 inches. Those will be the cross members. And then you'll need 4 of the 90-degree elbows. And then you'll need 4 flanges. I bought a package of 6 because this was $11 and some odd cents. And if I would have bought 4, it would have been over $12. So it actually made more sense to get 6. I'll have 2 extra for some other project down the road. Those flanges have quite a wide hole, so you need a number 14 screw so that it works in the holes there. If you have a regular number 8 or number 10 screw, it will just go through and you won't be able to bind that. So you need a number 14 screw, and I've got 1 1/2. You could also use 1 1/4. And then of course you're going to need a drill bit. I believe this is a 5/32. It's the same width as the shank. So when I look at that, I can still see the threads on either side of the shank. So I know this is the right size for this screw, because we're going to need to drill some pilot holes. And then you don't need a separate driver. You can use a drill and just change out the bits. But these came with a T30 screw head, and but whatever yours has, yours might have just a Phillips head on it or whatever, but you need a driver bit for that as well. So make sure you have the right bit for that. And I have this impactor driver that works really well. But again, you don't really need this. A drill would work as well. Something to measure with, something to cut with. I've got this out, but I'll probably use my miter saw when I get to that. And then I've got a couple scraps of 2x4s that I'm going to use. If you don't have the scraps of 2x4s, you have to buy just one 8-footer, or even a 6-footer would work for you. Actually even a 4-footer would work for you as well. And then it's just a couple bucks for one of those. All of this, not the tools, but the black pipe, the flanges, the elbows, and the screws cost me $67. That's as of today's date when I post this video. And I also got an 11% discount at the store that I was at. So it's really about $60 or so once I get that rebate coming back to me. The body row apparatuses that I see online, they're anywhere from $50 to $120, and mine's going to be longer, so I think it's going to be a little bit more versatile. So let's get started with the build. The black pipe usually comes with these stickers on and whatnot. You can just leave them on, or you can sand those off. I'm going to leave mine on for now, and I'll probably take them off. The other thing you can do is, once you're done, you could wrap this with some athletic tape to make it a little more comfortable on the hands. You're going to start with whichever one is going to be your horizontal piece, the piece that you're going to put your hands on. And you'll put your 90-degree elbows on each end of those. And these are the legs going down, and we just simply screw those in to each of these. Then you can take the flanges and screw them on. Alright, so one of the things we really need to make sure of is that these are nice and tight. You can use the leverage of the longer arms now to get an extra turn on them. And then if I can get another half a turn on these, then it'll be nice and tight. Alright, so I got that. It's tight. Now let's pull, let's see if we get another half turn in here. There we go. Now it's nice and snug. I cut my 2x4s to 26 inches long. So I cut all 4 of my pieces. I'm going to measure to the center, which is 13 inches. It's helpful if you have a square. It's not 100% necessary, because when you put those flanges on, you can just measure from here to here and here to here and make sure that you've got an equal amount. So now I'm going to mark where I need the pilot holes. So what I was trying to do was to make sure that the 2x4s were parallel to each other, and then I realized that I don't really need to do that, because as I'll show you after this, you can use those 2x4s to help tighten up. So just make sure that you mark for the pilot holes and make sure that the flanges are in the center of the boards. So I've got my location of my holes, so I'll center my drill bit in there with my 5/16 inch drill. Alright, and then I can screw this in. Once you get these legs on, you can use the leverage on them to tighten them up even more. A lot tighter now. All right, I've got these completed. Let me show you a little bit how I use them. They might be a little far apart for some people. In fact, they're a little far apart for me as well. In order to adjust for that, you can just bring them in like this maybe. Something like that. And then they're a little bit closer. A little bit easier to do. So my hand placement is a little bit different. They seem to be pretty stable. Let me show you. So even side to side movements, I'm not going to tip over. And that's nowhere near the amount of movement I'm going to have on exercises that I'm going to do. What's nice about these is you can customize them for your purposes. If you don't want as long a bar, you can go with a 24 or even an 18-inch bar.